Early countdown. Yeet.
No yeet.
No yeet.
No.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Leave It at the Table. We're gonna have a fun show today.
Ding, ding, ding. We started on time back-to-back weeks.
I know. Well, I guess a couple minutes late today, but I mean, we don't have to acknowledge that, right?
Hey, on time is on time, baby.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you guys are out there, make sure you do share the stream. That means that goes a long way for us.
Yes, please.
Get the word out. Tell your friends about us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do. Today, we live in somber because Joey Votto has announced his retirement from Major League Baseball.
Wah, wah.
Not shocking. Not shocking. Not a sports show to open up, though, but not shocking.
What was shocking was he didn't sign a one-day deal with the Reds.
I think that might be on the table. I also, there's a lot. Oh, man. Baseball offseason episode will be fun because I think Joey Votto needs to end up in the Reds organization in some way.
Yeah.
And I think it should be as the manager or the hitting coach.
Ooh.
Like the dude knows baseball. There's not many people out there who would hire baseball IQs than Joey Votto.
Not mad at him as a manager. I mean, if that's what he wants to go into, obviously he probably, if he came back for his 40th year-old season, I mean, he had to have loved baseball.
Right.
And I think Cincinnati's a great place for him. So, I mean, he spent most of his career there, 99.9% of his career. I don't even know if you
100% of his career now, if you're talking about major leagues.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would love to see him back in Cincinnati in some capacity.
Right. I agree. 100% agree. We got a good show today. So we're gonna do the same thing we did last week. Open up with a little 20 questions. I got the fan on me this week, so I shouldn't die of heat exhaustion for this one. So we're gonna do a little.
Pop the Molly, I'm sweating.
I am extremely tired, which is how you could tell we're back to school in full force.
Yes.
We're at the 14 and a half hour point of my day here, so.
I'm just mad at all the, like, okay, so I drive. I'm going to get on a soapbox for a second.
Oh, here we go. That'll buy me some time.
Yeah, you just go ahead and take your whole time. Oh, you even got me the whole camera.
There you
Okay,
go. Got
I'm
your
in on
spotlight.
this. Hey,
Switching to cameras and teaching Jeffrey a lesson today. He's not here.
so it takes me, on a good day, takes me 30 minutes to get to work. Not if the cops in Walton County decide that everybody and their mother decides that they're going to go to school at the exact same time that I go to work, and they let 75 cars come from the opposite lane. Like, just because the kids need to get to school doesn't mean I've got nowhere to be.
FDK.
Exactly. Make it even. Have half the kids go, half the cars go for the rest of the public. Like, I'm passing 331 and getting stuck in a standstill sitting there for 15, 20 minutes. Like, what am I doing? I'm late for work because you're deciding to let 75 cars come through. It's like, dude, there's 4 accesses to South Walton High School, and every single one of them is booked, packed. And I can't go down Chat Holly because there's a school bus that goes down that way.
You get stuck behind a school bus on Chat Holly, it's game over.
It's like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Do you want me to leave my house at 5 o'clock to be at the office for 7:45? Like, I already leave at 7.
Right.
What do you want me to do?
All right. Yeah, no, not possible. So what you
got Tommy Liggis just texted me. He said, "Can Kyle put a Georgia Tech helmet on the desk?" Hey Tommy, I'm just throwing it out there as an option. If it happens, it happens. But you see what he's wearing. I don't know if he's going to be switching to Georgia Tech.
I don't hate Georgia Tech. I actually am dropping a Know It All tomorrow morning. Know It All podcast, introducing Danny G, Dan Gonzalez as my full-time co-host.
Love that.
Well, full in-season co-host, because off-season the schedule's so weird that I don't want to try to book somebody to. I'll be like, can you record tonight? No? Okay, I'll go it solo. And that's unfair to him. That's why I was like, in season, boom, that's what you got. But that being said, I talked a little bit about Georgia Tech on the episode that's coming out tomorrow. I think a lot of FSU fans are like sitting back going, it's Georgia Tech. And I'm not willing to do that. They're returning the second most starters in the ACC. They have 5 upperclassmen on their offensive line. FSU has a lot of question marks, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm not. I think Florida State wins. I mean, we're going to talk about this on the back half of the show. I mean, I'm going to make my pick today. I mean, I'm basically my score pick because it's like we talked about off the air. It's dumb for you to pick LSU games. It's dumb for me to pick FSU games.
Yeah.
But we should have gotten that a little more prepped up. We should have picked 10 games for this weekend. We got college football starting back this weekend, so yeah, we'll start back next week.
I mean, Hawaii plays what? Delaware Tech.
If Delaware State can get off the ground because of that hurricane,
that's the craziest story.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes from that. We are going to play a little 20 questions again today. I'm going to send this. I'm going to do my due diligence real quick, guys. I'm going to go to the stream. I'm going to do this. Ready? Go into the stream.
I'm scared. What are we doing?
The share button. And I'm going to share this again to my own page.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned this earlier, and I felt a little psychotic for even considering it, but here we go.
Doing it live on the stream, sharing your own stream.
Sharing my own stream. Is this narcissism?
Hey, my father-in-law likes his own photos on Facebook.
I love that. That's actually my favorite thing.
He likes his own photos and likes his own post on everything. And everything he posts, whether he likes it, I'm like, why? I already know you like it. Why do you like it? He goes, I don't know. I just want everyone to know that I like it. I'm like, you posted it. You have to like it.
Self-love's important, people. Self-love's important. All right, let's get on it. The first question today is something I came across on Facebook. Drew, this one's a hot topic. There was a lot of different opinions on this one getting thrown around on my Facebook, and I'm actually going to pull up the comments from that.
I will as well,
and kind of read through them because there were some damn good ones. I shared it twice, and I got there's kids going to sleep out there if you can't hear it. A live inside look to our life, and actually, I'm really happy that you can hear that because that's got a big part to do with my take on this whole thing today. So Drew, I'm having a hard time pulling up the comments because
so as everyone's probably read it about 5 different times, I'm going to go ahead and read it just for everybody. You have 8 hours to teach my kids. If you can't fit it in, do it tomorrow. We get 4 hours with our kids after school to bedtime. I'm not wasting it on homework. Life skills and family time matter just as much. You seem a whole lot more excited to talk about this than I do right now. So I will let you do that. Say your piece, and because I find myself somewhere in the middle.
I am too because I guess I get the unique perspective of being a parent on this one. So I'll start. I guess. So we'll read through all these comments. There's some damn good comments. And if you guys are in the comments, leave your takes on it as well. I'll throw the question up here. Oop, not that one yet. Jumped a little far ahead. Damn it, Jeffrey. There's the question. Just one more time. If you want to give your takes in the comments, I'll read them off. As a parent, my perspective on this, number one, homework is 1,000% necessary. There's only so much time in the school day. The kids need to be able to re-educate themselves at home. It's important for kids to make sure that they stay on task and make sure that they remember these things because, believe it or not, we rip a lot of stuff that gets taught in school, but you do use, we're literally using things right now that we learned in school. Vocabulary.
I speak English.
That is going to get us canceled.
That was someone else came on the air and said that.
That was off camera, so you could probably get away with doing that. Okay, so Jesus, I don't even remember where I was at. ADHD. There you go. Using it right now.
Using vocabulary.
Yeah, you 100% circle back and use everything that you learn in school. So homework is important. That being said, I was able to kind of break down my schedule talking to Scott about this earlier. And here's our schedule as parents right now. Okay, we wake up at 5:30. We start waking up the kid at 5:45. We have to leave by 6:30 to get him there around 7. The drop-off line doesn't start letting kids in until 7. School starts at 7:25. They get out at 2. Grandparents pick them up Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I pick them up Wednesday. Get to the grandparents' house or home anywhere from 2:30 to 3. Just kind of depends on traffic and depends on how crappy the drop-off line was that day because that's a real factor. Okay, so they get there, and then Rachel's off at 5. She'll pick them up usually around 6. They get home around 6:30 to 7:15. Again, a lot of variables. Traffic. How long did they stay at the grandparents' house trying to get everything together? You're rallying up 2 kids. That's not easy. And then bedtime, we try to set it 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest. So basically, either the grandparents have to pound them with that homework immediately when they get back, or we have to try to get it done in a 2-hour window here at home. We have to get it all done. That's homework. That's dinner. That's showers. It's chaos. So last year, and Carson had an incredible teacher last year in kindergarten, by the way. However, he was sent home with 3 assignments every night. 3 assignments. It's a lot, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah.
There was a reading
Especially
assignment.
in kindergarten.
There was a sight words assignment, and there was a math assignment. And dude, it obviously would depend on Carson. If he was in a great mood, it would take 45 minutes. If it was hard because he's 5 years old and he just spent 8 hours in the school, if it was a hard assignment or a hard night, it would take an hour and a half.
I'm not a parent, so I have a tough time having a leg to stand on when I say some things. So don't come at me in the comments and yell at me.
I'll get them.
I I see the need in homework because it's like you said, you need a little bit of a refresher, and it's good. Obviously, you need the help from the parents, and we talked about it a little bit with Miss Tina and Brian. It's like at some point you need a little help from the parents to make sure that all this gets taken care of.
Right.
And that just furthers the students along, in my opinion. But on the flip side of that, especially in kindergarten, you can't be sending kids home with 45 minutes, an hour and a half's worth of work. Like, people have to, obviously parents have to work for a living. So they can't, teachers can't expect every single kid to be able to come to go home to a parent that one parent works, one parent stays. They can't expect.
Izzy Ligas just subscribed.
Ligas.
Golly, one day I'll get it right.
You still do it wrong. You can't expect parents to drop everything and be able to go home and help their kid with homework at all times. So like Miss Wendy said on here, I agree, kids need time to just be kids. So it's very, very difficult to be on one side or the other, in my opinion, because us as adults, we all had homework growing up. So we know the benefits of it. And we've all seen, I'm sure everybody's had a moment of, oh, I don't want to do this homework. And then the next day you get a pop quiz and it's, oh goodness, I should have done the homework.
Right.
I would be better off right now. But in the same breath, like, kids need a chance to be kids. How else are you going to learn social skills? And like in the post said, like real life skills that you don't learn from a book. A kid's going to learn that playing across the street with the kid from across the street.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's a big thing that you bringing that up also kind of just hits home, right? Because Carson has these kids across the street that he never has time to play with during the week. And then, as you know, the weekends are so busy.
Yeah.
Like this weekend, college football Saturday, of course, we have another birthday party to go to Saturday night. Carson's birthday party is on Sunday. So the weekend's chaos. It's always chaos.
Yeah,
and so he doesn't get to play with them during the week.
And as one thing that I can agree with for that Kyle Albritton has said, do your homework or you'll end up at FSU. So, I mean,
that's fair.
You might be left out of the national championship, the college football playoff, but hey, you guys were undefeated last year. So
that's true. As says the cup. Oh, I got it.
You're flipped.
Good God. There's the next challenge is try to flip the cup right.
All right, Izzy, let's see. Part 1 of response. I like the quote. In my opinion, homework isn't as important when the kids are in kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, and up is a different story. Part 2. Teachers teach at a school and parents can implement ways to include their topic in real life situations at home in more creative ways that the kids will actually remember and use.
I love that.
And that's part 2. I love it, but the only thing that I see wrong with that is not every parent is going to look at it the same way.
Right.
They're going to the parents are going to look at it as, you had 8 hours to teach my kid. What are you doing? Get out. Like, why are you sending? They're gonna look at it and go, this is not my job. I pay taxes for you to teach my kid, or I pay this kid's scholarship to go to the public to go to the private school. So you teach my kid. I'm teaching my kid my quote unquote stuff. Or they may come home and the kid's doing whatever he wants or he or she wants. So it's such a crapshoot whenever it comes to what the teachers see and what the parents see.
I do think there's a lot of people that do that. I've only been a parent for 5 years, right? I don't think you ever completely figure it out. So I might be doing this wrong. My opinion on that view on it is that that's kind of a damaging view for your kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm damaging my kid by I don't know. I think it is important for kids to learn at home. But I mean, David Hayes and I had an argument though, like where everybody plays a very specific role in education, and that's why school is an option. That's why church is an option. To circle back to that conversation, because there's some kids learn better, man. We were just at a speech therapist today for Ezra, and she said the words that kind of like they sting a little bit, but most kids perform better when their parents aren't around.
Yeah.
And dude. So
when you say it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that you don't think about.
Right.
But whenever you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah. And it's tough because, like I said, I'm not a parent. I don't really have a verified opinion because I don't have a kid that I'm sending to school, and I haven't been a parent before. So it's tough for me to have an opinion, but I land somewhere in the middle.
I mean, but you were a student.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, you get every right. I mean, my view on it is just as a parent who's dealing with it right now, but you've had homework.
Yeah. And my parents, it was sometimes they were home whenever I got home, and they checked if I did my homework. Sometimes they didn't. And it was just a crapshoot. Sometimes I did my homework the period before. And then sometimes I had teachers that gave you time at the end of class to do your homework. And I loved those classes because I could get everything done and not worry about it. And I also had teachers on the flip side of that where they would send you home with reading and writing and stuff like that, questions you had to answer out of the book. And if you didn't show up the next day with it written in your like actual hand in paperwork, if you didn't have it, you got a bad letter grade and it went against your grade. So it was, and that's my biggest thing. Like, this is homework. That I argued with one of my teachers. I was like, this is homework. Yes, I know I'm supposed to do it, but at the end of the day, I'm taking it home and I can do God knows what with it. I could look it up on Google for all you know and come back with 100, and you're still going to give me the same grade if I showed up and didn't do it.
Right.
So I thought it was silly that he assessed so much of a letter grade to homework. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love it. I agree. I mean, I feel most of the same ways. Comments. You two should have a spelling bee from Kyle Albritton. I would cook you in a spelling bee. I'm just letting you know.
What are we spelling? Intercontinental. I can't read. There's a glare over there.
I can't read. You heard it. I win. I win.
Hey, I'm from Louisiana. We got the 3 R's. That's our school: reading, writing, and arithmetic.
I thought you were going to say another R in Louisiana that 100% would still ring true.
Rue?
Yeah. All right. Brooke Goins says, hola. That's my cousin Brooke. Shout out to Brooke. Shelby says, hey, losers. Hi, Shelby. We love you. We are losers. Wendy, reading back to that one, it is a tough schedule for adults, extra tough for kiddos. It really is. It's homework is just as hard on the parent as it is the kid.
Especially the way they're teaching these days.
Yeah, dude. Like even kindergarten math last year, we'd sit down a couple times and I'm like, I don't think I can help you, bud. I don't know. I don't know what this is like. I'm terrible at reading directions. I'm great at like doing like reading comprehension, everything like that. I don't. My comprehension skills are incredible, but for some reason, when it comes to reading directions and putting it to work, it's like my ADHD just goes insane. You want to read Jake McGowan there, and then we'll kind of go to the Facebook comments.
Here's my take on homework. They got to stop sending homework that I can't figure out. When Hudson had a math problem that said X plus X equals X. I need a number in there somewhere. Exactly. Like the stuff that they're doing now, like I saw a video the other day on Facebook breaking down a parent breaking down their kid's homework, and the father in the other room was listening, said the answer, and the mom goes, no, that's wrong. You've got to do it like this. They put out a calculator. The way that it was just done in the dad's in his mind was correct. but the way that the kid had to do it, it ended up being wrong. And it was just like, wait, what? How are we making math more complicated? Math was my worst subject. How are we making math more complicated?
How many times have you had to find a value for X in your professional career?
Never.
Okay. The only X that I have to find a value for is tapping the X button on PlayStation.
Yeah, and I used to be a carpenter, but I guess I do a little math installing window treatments, because the way you find the middle of your the base of your window, take your rod length, say it's 60, take your 60 inches, take your opening, get your mind out of that gutter, sir. Take your window opening, subtract, say that's 30, subtract the 60 from 30, divide by 2, 15. All right, so you're going 15 out, 15 out. And that's how you burp.
No free ads, but that's how you chug a Busch Latte.
Every time you drink anything, it's chugged.
Yeah.
I've
especially alcohol. It's not healthy.
I've spent a lot of time with you. I've seen you drink things before, and everything you drink is.
I have no.
Right,
I cannot sip beer, because once I get into beer, it just becomes a problem. All right, we need to read through these because we have more questions to get to. I'll read the first one here. Elise Tucker says, some homework, yes, but when a child comes home with endless amounts, it's a little ridiculous. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Let's keep it like one assignment, maybe two.
Yeah, going back to Izzy's comment, it depends on where they are.
Right.
Kindergarten, elementary, I think that's where you draw the line at maybe like one thing. Middle school, maybe two. High school, that's where it's like, okay, you're on your own. Well, I can trust you. Me as a parent, I can trust you to handle your own stuff.
When the kids can be independent and doing their homework, then it's like, okay, let's start. We don't have to pile it on, because we still, especially in high school, because they could be doing after school activities. They could be trying to get a job to help financially support
sports.
Tyler has an after school job to help help things kind of move financially a little bit better over there in Tallahassee. So how could Tyler have a bunch of homework every night? It just wouldn't work out for him.
Chef Ross, I was given a take-home Spanish test. Teacher said we couldn't use Google, so I used Bing.
I love that. Ask Jeeves, baby.
Yes.
Ask Jeeves. All right. What you got? Should we jump ahead to Tyler Spalding, perhaps?
Go for it.
Agree that family time is important, and life skills such as communication matter a lot, but so does education. Unless you're paying a private school tuition, you need your children to take advantage of every single homework assignment / school assignment available. These same parents are the same parents that emailed the teacher because their kid thinks 2 + 2 = 5 because instead of homework, they were out making memories. Signed, a white male with no children who is obviously not educated to speak on this subject. White men should never speak on any subject.
Hey, and moving on. Teresa Wiggins, she said, I am glad to inform you of my thoughts. The school provides breakfast and lunch and plus and a recess. There are 6 hours, including recess, of total instruction time. There will need to be extra practice at home on some subjects, but it should be age appropriate. I did it, and my kids did it. It should not be excessive. It's hard raising kids. Hang in there.
If anybody has a pamphlet on how to raise kids, I'll take it.
I don't know if those exist.
Angela Knorr says Van's teacher last year, kindergarten, would send all the class homework home the classwork along with the homework. So it would take them a little over an hour almost every day to complete. Most of the classwork had more instructions and didn't include the tools needed to complete the work in the first place. So it was definitely setting him up for failure. She would mark something wrong on one page and then mark the exact same thing as correct on another. We thank God above for his new teacher, as she is perfect. They have the same teacher this year, Carson and her son. So that's how we met, actually. But after our first experience with the loads of homework last year, I say no homework unless prepping for a test. That's also, unless we have something specific that we're preparing for.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Rick Ty's reply on my should we talk about this on the show tonight comment's a good one.
I think it has a lot to do with what time everyone gets the family home from school, work, etc. And then there's practice and games.
Practice.
If your child is involved with that, so yes, bring it up tonight. It'll be interesting to get people's input. Both of my parents worked full-time jobs. Me and my brother were involved in sports since we were old enough to do so. All the way through school, we managed and didn't turn out that bad. Maybe times were just different back then, 60s and 70s.
It's a lot different now. It's a lot different now. I mean, it's still not impossible, but it is a lot different now.
Yeah.
You can't just let your kid go free anymore and run around the neighborhood like we did growing up.
The lights came on. I got to go home.
Yeah. The street, it's not like that anymore, brother.
Yeah.
It's a different world, man. It's a different world. There's a lot more that we could read through, but I want to do some other questions, Drew. You ready? You want to move on, or is there any others that you 100% want to hit on?
No, let's go ahead and move on. If you're interested and you still want to hear what other people have to say and you want to add your opinion, feel free to put it in the chat. Feel free to share the stream. Share the stream.
It's like hypnotizing. Share the stream.
Do it. Bet you won't.
Shit.
Bet you won't.
I bet. Yeah. Don't. Reverse psychiatry.
So, what would you
Somebody will
do?
get that reference.
What? Straight over my head like a haircut.
Parks and Rec.
What would you? Greatest comeback story. What would you do if you won the lottery?
What would I do if I won the lottery? So on a personal side, I would, be responsible first and foremost. I'd pay off all my debt, pay off this house, and get myself and my wife shiny new cars, probably. What a lot of people would do, I believe. Professionally, though, bro, we're talking what, like hitting 100 million Powerball?
Sure, we'll cap it out there.
I would put 10 mil. I would put 5 million into. I would put 5 million into like a 3-year plan to resurrect the network, the Right On Network.
Okay.
I would love to give that another shot with everybody having time, because I've thought about this a lot, bro. Like basically, it would be bringing like you trying to lure Nick back, and it's like, I'm gonna pay you guys a 3-year contract up front or something like that, and let's get this thing back on the road. Let's get this thing back on the road. We'll buy one of these buildings and turn it into a massive studio with like 3 or 4 different studios in it, or big office space with a bunch of different offices that we can convert into studios. And I've put a lot of thought into that, actually. Wow. I think that's that would 100% be something that I would do.
Now I feel selfish for not thinking about it.
No, I read through a couple of these today, and I saw that one, and I was like, I actually had time to think about this one while I was driving around this morning, and I would love to give that another shot with money, and not having to worry, because that was really, at the end of the day, it was time and money.
Yeah.
We didn't have the money to do production, like to have a great production. We didn't have time to figure out how to do it ourselves. But if we all did it full time and it was our job, I know would be accomplishable through, if I were to come to you and say, Drew, I'll pay you $50,000 a year for the first year. I could pay it to you up front, quit your job, and let's do this.
I'm in.
Right. And I think that other people would do that as well. So that's something big I would like to do.
Apparently Shelby wants you to give her some of it.
I need money. She knows where my money would go, I bet. Shelby, who would be the first person to message me? All right, go ahead.
Kind of like you said, I would pay off the house, do the financial, like the smart thing.
Yeah.
Pay off the house, pay off my wife's car, probably get me a new truck. And then I think I would buy a rental property, because we're in the process. Shout out Chase and Lacey.
Ooh.
They're in the process of helping us get a rental property. Liggis & Co.
That's how you do it right
Coastal
there.
Division, baby.
That's how you do it right there.
definitely a free ad there.
Yeah. No free ads, but there's a free ad, a proud one.
Enjoy. But yeah, definitely get a nice property. Heck, we might even buy a house and then be able to use our current house as a rental property. And that's always been our plan. Keep our house as long as we can and use it as a rental property. Because where we are we're right smack in the middle of
15 minutes from the
everything.
airport, walking distance from Pier Park, Gulf
Yes.
Coast Jam.
Frank Brown for
No,
Worlds.
no free ads, but
Yeah.
everything. Perfect.
So definitely do the smart thing. Pay off a house, pay off car, get cars. And then probably I've got a buddy who's our financial advisor in Chattanooga, Philip Fabry. No free ads.
Never called me back.
I really think that if I gave him a chunk of change
Invest.
and said, hey, do with what you please. Set aside X amount of dollars to real estate is the number one way to build wealth. Thank you, Wendy. Give him X amount of dollars to go towards high risk, high reward investments, and then low risk, low reward, and just kind of build it from there. And like Wendy said, build wealth through a couple different properties, and who knows, maybe living in Alice Beach before too long.
I screwed up very early in my life, so that's like I obviously with the lottery, with winning the lottery, that would those problems would go away. But I have to bury myself out of a lot of debt that I got into early in life. So, but there you go. What you got? Love you guys. Thanks for the Ligas and Co. shout out.
Hey, you said it right that time.
Ligas and Co. shout out. Let's get some rentals going. Check them out on Facebook, by the way.
And I got called a smart man.
Okay.
That doesn't happen often.
They are more trustworthy than that 90% of the time.
I love the Ligas crew and the Kreitz crew because Lacey's now a Kreitz.
Oh, yeah. They
Chase
supported us in our first season of softball, which has just built the most fun group of guys.
We're still going.
Yep.
It's a blast.
We are the Glizzy Boys now. The Ligas and Co. Glizzy Boys. I think that would be fun. All right.
What the heck was that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you a pirate over there?
We didn't even have to buy the damn uniforms the first season. It was awesome. What is a pirate's favorite letter, Drew?
Q.
I'll go radio silent. I'm not kidding.
R.
You think it's R?
Yeah.
R. You say R, but it'd be the C.
C.
How much does it cost to get your ear pierced by a pirate? About $1 an ear.
Oh, you know I'm too good to not laugh at any joke.
Oh, dad jokes are the best.
Yes.
Speaking of best, who knows you the best? Inside and out. I don't want to know who knows you inside. But who knows you out?
That's my doctor. If I had one,
my proctologist.
I'm gonna open up a psychology a psychology office and a proctologist. It's gonna be a little odds and ends clinic. Oh, you got us on the jokes. Now we got to move on. Ratings are at an all-time high. Let's go, Chef Ross.
Yeet.
No yeet.
No, that's a yeet.
No yeet. Who knows me best? It far and away, Michaela.
Yeah.
Like she can.
Let's add a dimension to this.
Without wives.
Without wives, because obviously. Yeah, I mean.
Obviously,
Yeah, right.
It's got to be.
Does that make it too hard?
I mean, it's hard picking a parent because both of my parents were very. If we take family out of it, that's hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Because here recently, it's actually my brand new coworker, Blake. Because the other this morning, I didn't get breakfast on the way into work because I was running a little bit behind because of school traffic. So I didn't get a chance to run by the Cefco, get a biscuit, whatnot. Well, we go to our first job, and I'm just all over the place on what I'm doing, figuring everything out. Like I'm a step slow, and I'm getting frustrated at everything. And he comes around the corner. He goes, "Hey, you okay?" I was like, "I'm just getting frustrated. I can't figure this out." He goes, "Did you not eat this morning? You're not your usual self. You all right? You seem deep in thought." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't eat this morning. Wow, how did you know that?" He goes, "I mean, I've been with you all day, every day for the past 4 weeks. I should know you by now." And I was like, "Wow, okay, I didn't realize that."
Don't stare at me, please.
Yeah, but it was like it just caught me off guard because you spend that much time with somebody. We go to every single job together. We're with each other for 40 hours a week. You should know somebody by then. But it just kind of caught me off guard because he started maybe a month ago. And he's already picking up on my little ticks and cues. It's like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
For me, Scott knows everything about me. Poor Scott has seen every bit of me. Poor Scott.
Poor Scott.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, Scott and I are obviously we're best friends. I know everything about Scott. Scott knows everything about me. We still do learn things all the time like that. We're really similar in a lot of ways, so it's pretty refreshing to find things that we're opposite ends in, which isn't much, but it is nice.
So,
do you know him like that, Drew from Shelby? Would you be able to spot that with your coworker?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
most definitely. Because he went quiet at like 2:00 today, and I was like, "Hey, bud, what's going on?"
It's 100 degrees, boss.
And I'm tired of this, Grandpa. We spent a little too long at the last job that we had, and it was just everything's out of square. Nothing's. Try putting a square window shutter into a non-square window, and making it shut and close and look good. Harder than it seems.
Sounds
especially
hard.
Yeah, just
I mean, I have the blocks in there for Ezra, and the circle don't go in the square, brother.
It's monotonous and crazy and frustrating whenever it's not going the way that you want it to.
Sounds made up, Drew. I don't know.
Oh, sure, okay.
The Buccaneer joke was actually hilarious. Let's go. See you guys next week.
So, aside from necessities, what is one thing that you could not go a day without?
Aside from necessities, one thing I could not go a day without. Necessities would fall obviously under family, food,
Shelter, water.
Right. Okay, so my goodness, dude. I don't know.
Would you consider a phone a necessity?
I in 2024 probably,
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that because I was talking with Blake yesterday about how easily accessible the internet is now.
Right.
Because people forget how easy it was, how frantic I was or you were as a teenager getting that flip phone and accidentally hitting the online button going, close. I don't want to cost my parents $40.
Yeah, right.
But nowadays it's like, it's just 2 clicks.
And with us, I'll say pretending that a phone's not a necessity, that I don't think I could go a day without my phone. And it basically, and everybody out there, especially the real estate people, golly, man, having communication, having social media to promote what you're doing, to find content to talk about. I mean, good God. I mean, just to circle back to this came off Facebook. If I'm not on Facebook today, then our most fun topic to open the show today doesn't exist, right? So, I mean, and we're still doing a great job without it. And we would have done great without it. We did great without it last week, but it was a fun one to open up with.
Yeah. So I never heard an answer.
But a phone is a necessity, right? I'll say social media is not a necessity, but I don't think I truthfully just don't know if I could do a day without it. I think it'd be mentally refreshing to do a day without it, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me. I'll think of something better. Maybe I'll circle back to this.
Well, I should have been sitting here thinking the whole time instead
You
of
had
listening.
that. You had that question highlighted, huh?
Not even highlighted. I was
Instead
just-
of listening. Okay, so there's that little inside baseball to doing a podcast where you're bouncing questions like this because, like, I'm not listening to Drew talk. I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to respond?
I was listening because I was just like, I'm interested to know what he thinks.
or vice versa. Like, I'm listening to you, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm going to say now.
Thank goodness we have Drew to share. Yes, I share every single thing. Every time I see anything from them. I was told, no, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to put it out there. I was told I was going to be getting something for a most followed member or something from Lacey had said something about that. I don't know if I'm throwing stones out here, but I still remember that.
Also, I just want to say to the Ligas people, I'm just going to say, there's some blank space right there in the middle of Drew and I.
Hey, for me, non-essential. I think it would. That's a tough question.
That's a hard question to answer because I feel like everything that I have is essential.
Yeah.
I was an essential worker, damn it.
Where are you yelling at?
Looking off into the distance here.
Non-essential. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably my. I'll go with my watch. It's, and I'm just gonna say watch in general. It doesn't have to be the Apple Watch that I have now. It doesn't have to be. I consider air conditioning essential.
Yeah, dude. I mean, especially living in Florida, that's a necessity without a doubt.
And it's. I mean, it doesn't come with the house, but
This
I mean,
AC
it
crashes-
follows the house.
This AC crashes next Tuesday. We ain't doing a show Wednesday. That is all I'm saying. Like, it's just not. I have a fan on me now, and it's working at full capacity.
Going back to my answer, the watch. I think it comes back to I definitely need a watch, and I've worn a watch for so many years.
Ooh, music. Bryce Bauman.
Oh,
Outstanding with music. That's a
FBB, man.
That's
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Jesus Christ.
It took you a little bit back. Oh,
Try
love you,
being
Bryce.
the ignorant one that had that, like, put his company money in to sponsor those jerseys and had no fucking idea what that stood for us.
Oh man, if you know, you know.
Ah, we were just fucking stupid.
I
High
was
school drama.
I was very confused that whole season. I was like, "What is?"
So was I. I had my fucking company logo on the sleeve.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Back on track. Jesus Christ. That was good. That was good. Thank you for that. Let's see. Where is the coolest place that you've traveled?
Coolest place I've traveled. I'm gonna go with Costa Rica.
Never been outside of the country.
Here recent. Michaela and I was able to go.
I remember that. I had to
Um,
cover you for 2 weeks.
appreciate that.
Bullshit.
Appreciate that. But it's definitely Costa Rica. We were able to go and do a couple different things out there. Had a surfing lesson, went horseback riding, went zip lining in the rainforest. Like it was an absolute blast. And if you ever have a chance to go, Costa Rica is beautiful. It's a blast and it's beautiful. A lot of fun. Just don't drive from one portion to the other portion in a day and expect to make it before sundown because they are some windy roads. And if you get anywhere near car sick or sick, it's not a fun trip.
I think Key West, which is pretty much just PCB South, but the food down there was just so much better than it is up here. All the seafood was fresh. Key West was cool. Chicago, the bad reputation that the city gets, it's actually really beautiful down in the city, especially going to the top. I don't know what it's called now, but the Sears Tower, where you can go all the way up to like the 70th floor and stand on the glass floor and look out at the whole city of Chicago. You could definitely see the parts that get the bad name for the city of Chicago, but that was a cool spot. Food there.
Did you go during St. Patty's Day while the river was green?
I went in August actually, around, golly, probably around this time, back before COVID. I think it was 2019. I would love to go on a cruise, by the way. I've never been on a cruise. I've never been outside. Like, I've never been more than like 20 miles offshore, period.
We shall fix that.
I would love to go on a cruise. I would never take my kids on a cruise.
No.
But I would love to go on a cruise.
They do have all-day daycare.
Anxiety, too much.
Yeah.
Lord
knows what Carson's going to do on a boat.
You see what I'm saying? Like, my kids are hyper. I worry, like, if something happens. I've seen Poseidon. Okay, I've seen the 85-foot rogue wave hitting the ship in the middle of the ocean.
We need to take a big group of us. Me, Michaela, you, Raquel,
Nick and Jess. I would love to go.
Nick
cruising
and
with Nick and
Jess.
Jess. You know, Jess knows everything about traveling.
Chase and Lacey, Wendy and Tommy, like
I would love to go on a cruise.
Izzy, JD, like bring the whole gang. Let's do it all over again. I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm signing the papers now.
I've never met any of them outside of Chase, but I'd be down. I would love to go on a cruise.
They are a fun group.
Shelby and Dave could go. Oh, there she goes. I
I
want to
want
go.
to go. Okay, well, come on.
Come on.
We're taking applications.
I guess the answer would be Key West, though. Key West was cool. New Orleans, if it didn't smell like pee, would be awesome.
Hey, Ruby Slipper, baby.
I mean, everything to eat in New Orleans is great. Even rats outside of the French Market.
I loved that guy. Was nuts.
No, yeah, we watched that happen.
Leave it at the table cruise 2026.
Well, we're doing it.
Why are we waiting?
It's gonna be on like a 7-foot John boat, but we're starting to go fund me now.
7-foot John boat.
We'll come back and pick like 2 people up at a time.
Where are we going? Port St. Joe?
So when we went to New Orleans for the first time, Shelby brought up a good point. It was so freaking funny. I've
What? Need money? Had sex with Miley
I've only ever given a homeless person money twice. One time was at the marathon on the corner of Joan and North Lagoon, and the other time was in New Orleans. We pulled up, and we were trying to go to the Superdome. We were going to WrestleMania 30. We pulled up off the exit, and we come up to a stoplight, and there's a guy holding a sign that says, "Need money, had sex with Miley Cyrus, need an STD test." I was like, you get $20, brother. Because I laughed my ass off. That was
okay.
That was awesome.
I mean, hey, do what you got to do. That would be definitely a time stopper, an eye stopper, and you definitely pay attention to that. Wow. Okay, need money. I looked up there and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So that was part of the story. It was freaking hilarious,
Oh
man.
my
God,
God.
that was funny. All right, what you got next for me?
Let's see.
We did best childhood memory off the air.
What is the greatest challenge or struggle you have ever faced?
Greatest challenge or struggle I've ever faced. This oh good God, I don't want to get emotional talking about that. An emotional struggle was accepting my grandpa's truck after he passed away. That was tough. Shout out to Jason Eastman for taking that away. Fucker. God, dude. Oh man. Yeah, so that was an emotional struggle. That cuz I went through like 2 weeks of denial, like I don't want it. I'm not going to do it. And then I was like,
Then
okay,
you take it.
I'll do it, and drunk bastard took it away. So starting to go fund me to get a new truck for Kyle Wright.
Reaching the top shelf. You're not lying, big fella.
I got him. I can't reach the bottom shelf, so we're a perfect team, brother. We're a perfect team.
I love it. The biggest challenge for me was
That's just a recent one. I'll think of something else.
whenever everything hit the fan in 2020 for COVID. I was kind of forced, and I had just gotten married in 2018, so I'd been married for 2 years. And then, like I said last week, that was the moment where I looked in the mirror and knew I had to step up and be a man. And not only for myself, but I also had a dog and a wife that I was taking care of. And I had to in that moment it was a struggle because I knew I needed to. It was a big challenge for me because I knew I needed to be that guy that took care of my family, but I didn't know how. Not going to college and not really having any prospects of where to go, but things fell into place and I was able to move down here and get everything figured out. So that was probably the one of the toughest moments in my life, figuring out how to provide without a degree. And I've kind of, I won't say lucked my way in, but I've kind of, because everybody sees the work ethic behind the scenes, and then things just kind of fall into place, whether that's God or luck or just whatever happens, whatever you believe in. It's allowed me to get into a position where I am now, where I have an opportunity to come sit here and not worry about, oh, where's my next meal coming from? I still have my wife. I still have my dogs, and everything's taken care of. So things have worked out for me.
That period during and after Hurricane Michael. So Carson was 6 weeks old. We got the hell out. I just knew watching. I've learned a little bit. I've learned a lot about meteorology over the last couple of years, especially like in the 1 or 2 years leading up to Michael, because it was like, okay, so if you follow hurricanes, you see the pressure drop. Just in short, if you start watching the pressure drop, that means the storm is going to strengthen. And the Gulf was fucking hot in October, so I was like, okay, listen, this thing is a 3. I think it's going to get to a 4 or 5. Carson's 6 weeks old. Rachel's nursing. We got to go. Nobody else in my family left. So we went up to North Carolina, stayed with Scott and his ex-wife, and we stayed up there for, I think 4 or 5 days. Stressed out. Can't get a hold of anybody. Watching the news, just seeing this thing just rip this fucking city apart. And yeah, I should not cuss too much. Golly. You need to hit me up on that.
Gosh darn
it. Just watching the city get torn apart by Hurricane Michael and not being able to get a hold of anybody. Yeah. Your grandpa, my mom, my sister. Yeah. Survivor's guilt a little bit almost. So, sorry, work had me. Hi, Elise. Hi. Oh, I got to wave that way. Wave at the TV. Like, see, idiot. But then when we came back, bro, was like the biggest heartbreak because my buddy Brian and his son, their house got destroyed. Yeah. Our house seemed fine. We went home. My uncle's house got wrecked up too. We brought my uncle in, and then we took in Brian and his son. Our house was packed for a couple weeks, bro. It was tough. It was a 2-bedroom house, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 6 people living there. Wow. But what are you gonna do, man? It was a time to help each other, support each other. It is what it is. It was what it was. So Uncle John's house started getting fixed up, so he went back home to stay. And then after about 3 weeks, what does that smell? Well, so our neighbors left. We were in a townhome that was connected to another. Our neighbors had evacuated, and they never came back. Their roof caved in. And so all the water, everything got into our walls and ceiling and molded over and just destroyed our house as well. And having to tell Brian and his son that basically you lost another one. Like, we have to get out. That sucked, bro. That's like one of the biggest mental challenges I've ever gone through. Because how do you deliver that news? Yeah. How do you, like, I know you just lost your home. I know you're finally getting comfortable. Your son, like, the kids are in school, by the way. This is school year. The kids were back in school, and I had to tell that man that, like, he had to find somewhere else to go again. Wow. That absolutely blew. And, during that whole period, that there's a whole different rabbit hole to go down. But that sucked, man. That's one of the most struggling times I've gone through as a man. And then during all that, of course, I've got a baby of my own. And that's when I, got diagnosed with AFib, and that's a whole different story. Wow. Yeah. Never told that story out loud.
That's tough.
That sucked, man. Rachel and I both went through it, and shout out Brian Waddell, I still have so much love for him. He didn't, he didn't take the news bad or anything. Like he understood. I mean, obviously we got mold. He smelled it first.
Yeah.
And it was just it sucked, man. That was terrible. Let's end the question portion of this episode before we get into a little college football talk. Let's end this with some funny stuff. Tell me an embarrassing story.
Embarrassing story.
Want me to go first while you think?
Go right ahead.
Here we go.
But I'm going to want to listen. Doggone it. Dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit. All right. So I'll go first. So I guess I can try to figure out which one is the best because most of mine involve the same thing. I'll go to...
I got a story.
Okay.
So
go ahead. I'm going to decide which one I'm going to do.
So I used to work at a physical therapy office, and a part of my job was I answered phones at the office, and I would call insurance companies, and I would schedule patients and stuff like that. Well, one day I'm calling to get authorization for a patient's physical therapy, and I'm on the phone with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. No free ads. So,
especially not for those bastards.
While I'm on the phone, I've got this patient X, their insurance card in front of me, and I'm reading it off to the insurance, to the lady on the insurance from the insurance company. And me trying to be helpful, I start using like different words to relay what just in case anything gets lost in translation. I start using words to explain the letters that I'm saying. So I said C as in can, A as in apple, N as in navel.
November.
I said N as in navel, and as I'm sitting there on the phone, holding up the phone to my ear, say N as in navel. I had my clinic director in the middle of treatment on the patient looks up at me and goes, "What?" Another therapist, my buddy Dusty, looks at me and he was like, "Did you just say N as in navel?" I said, and then kept talking on the phone. After I hung up the phone, they all looked at me and they're like, "N as in navel, huh?" I was like, I mean, I guess I'm hungry. I was thinking of an orange. And they were all like, "Well, I guess that's better than the belly button navel." So
I was thinking like Naval Academy.
Yeah, there's so many meanings of navel. But
navels.
I could not think of November, nocturnal, nut. Couldn't think of anything. Navel was the first N word I thought of. Let's hear your story.
All right. So it's only okay. All right. Yeah. So Brian Bassett, shout out to him. I wish he was in the comments because he was there for this one. We took Carson and he went as well. We went up to Sunny Hills to go golfing. And this is literally about a month ago, 2 months ago, probably. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I know this story. Yeah. I know this story.
So we go in and we pay, and if you know how golf courses work, you pay, you play. You don't get a refund.
No.
If it rains, I mean, you might get a rain check.
Yeah.
If it rains. But you're not going to pay and then go, okay, let's keep going here. Let's dig a little deeper. So we get back we go pay for the round and we get the carts. We go back to the car and load up my golf clubs. And I lift my leg for a fart and lo and behold, I was like, that's not a fart. And so, and I didn't do it right there, okay? I didn't do it right there. I was like, that's not going to be a fart. I got to go. I put my leg back down. And the impact of my leg hitting the ground started shaking it out, bud. And I want everybody to remember in this story that I have a mobilized golf cart. But what do? I say, Brian, Carson's got to stay with you for a minute. I got to go to the bathroom. I start hobbling my way. If you've ever been to Sunny Hills parking lot from where we park to the clubhouse, it's not far, but it's about 200 yards.
It's not a short walk.
It's 150 to 200 yards. I hobble all the way into the clubhouse, into the bathroom, and while I'm doing it, it's just bloop, 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 bloop. I shit myself.
Time stamping at 1:07.
I mean, and the worst part was, bro, I'm in gray shorts. So I get in the bathroom and I do the whole like, okay, we're ditching the underwear. We're cleaning off. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I just paid $65. I'm golfing.
Yeah.
I'm golfing, bro. I'm
Can I get a later tea time? I gotta run to Walmart real quick.
The whole front nine, bro. I got this big old brown ring on the back of my shorts. And I'm like, there's on the first hole, there's other people waiting behind us to tee off after us. I'm like, okay. So I get up out of my seat and reluctantly, and I look down. And of course, there's a brown streak on the seat of the golf cart. Like, okay, great. So I take a little water, dump it on that, wipe it off with my towel. I'm like, okay, well, that towel's not getting used on my clubs anymore, right? So I'm like, that towel's going to sit here because apparently I'm 5 years old. And I grab my driver and I walk backwards up the tee. I put my ball on the tee and I turn around, I hit probably the best drive of my life, like 300 right down the middle.
Not thinking
no
about it.
warm up, not thinking about it. I mean, the slowest warm up ever, and played 9 holes before I was finally like, this is too much. Starting to get itchy.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that's there's an embarrassing story for you.
Oh man, that was way more embarrassing than mine that I thought of on the spot. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No shame, no game, baby. I mean,
hey, you pay to play, baby.
We're here for the content.
Pay to play. We're here for
good content. I can't believe the comments aren't blowing up after that one. By the way,
I think it's gonna buffer and hit. I threw up on camera, and you tell a shit story on camera. It's content, baby.
Yeet.
No yeet.
No yeet on that. I'll agree. Shout out to Ellie De La Cruz for joining the 60-20 club.
60-20. Are we really having we still celebrating 60-20?
I guess. I mean, he's only the fifth player in baseball history to do it. 60 stolen
bases is insane.
It is. It is.
How many strikeouts though?
Like a lot, brother. A lot. He's gonna strike out over 200 times.
Sheesh.
All right. I don't know if anybody else is still there. It says we have some viewers. It says we have quite a few viewers.
That's that triple double you're not looking for.
Yeah. Triple double. You're not. Good God. All right. College football. We're gonna shift the focus. We've got a lot of questions left on here that I'm actually really. We've got a couple weeks worth of these. We're gonna keep doing these.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep doing this for a little while. Next week NFL, AFC or NFC next week.
Let's go AFC.
We'll do AFC first.
We'll do the strong side first.
We'll start strong. That's fair. So I'll wear. Yeah, we're good. I'll wear my Dolphins gear next week.
I'll wear a Eddie George jersey.
There you go. I have an NFC jersey in there as well, at least one. So I'll wear an NFC jersey on NFC week. Right. Maybe I'll go NFC South for you.
No, don't do that. Because I know you don't have a Saints jersey.
I don't have a Saints jersey. The only one I would have ever bought was Jameis.
Oh.
I might get a Cleveland Browns jersey.
That man is just hilarious.
How can you? I don't know how you can hate him, dude. I really don't. Like, even as an FSU fan, I was able to admit that I loved Tim Tebow, and I know, dude, you can't hate Jameis Winston. You can't. But with that being said, let's talk a little college football, Drew. 12-team college football playoff coming this year. It's going to look a lot different, man. It's going to look a lot different. We don't necessarily have to fill the bracket here, but I kind of want to start with you. What, like with LSU, all right? Replacing a lot. You're replacing a lot. And I'm just asking you point blank this. Like, you've got a head coach who still will use unproven on the big stage.
Yeah.
You've got a brand new quarterback. You're replacing a Heisman Trophy winner. You're replacing 2 first-round wide receivers. Now, we know in college football, especially in the era of NIL, it's reload, not rebuild. But how does LSU bounce back before you give your prediction on the season? How do you feel as a fan having to replace all that?
I'm excited because I think that we have enough. I really like what Brian Kelly did over the offseason because he went out and got Blake Baker. He went out and got Frank Wilson, went out and got Brad Davis and Corey Raymond. Corey Raymond and Brad Davis and Blake Baker were all previous guys from LSU that went on to, I wouldn't say bigger and better jobs, but they went on to bigger jobs and produced at that level. Blake Baker was the defensive coordinator at Missouri last year. What did Missouri do? Have a really good defense and look like they were primed for a big season this year. Bo Davis, defensive line coach. He was the defensive line coach last year at Texas. What did Texas have that no one else had? An elite defensive line. I wouldn't say no one else had.
I was going to say Florida State's defensive line was pretty damn good.
And Corey Raymond, he left LSU, went to Florida, shored up their defensive backs, and is now back at LSU, bringing back that swagger that LSU in the defensive secondary has missed. And it's just, I love what he's been able to bring back, and it's already starting to show in recruiting. We've gotten a 4-star defensive back flipped from Texas coming to us next year. We've got a 5-star that chose us over like 5 of the top teams in the nation. So it's already starting to show. We're going to have that grit on the defensive line. We're going to have that want to in the defensive secondary. We're going to have that LSU swagger, that DBU swagger that we're used to having. I have no problems on our offensive side of the ball because Garrett Nussmeier, I think he's good enough that I don't know if he's Heisman potential, but he's not getting the respect from the media as a whole for what he's able to do. Because don't forget, his dad is Doug Nussmeier, an NFL quarterback. So he has all the tools. He has weapons around him because at LSU, it's reload every single year.
Right.
You're going to have weapons. You're going to have dudes everywhere. My biggest question is, and what's that secondary going to look like? Because that was our biggest problem last year. We got a couple transfers. We got a couple guys that are getting older. We need to coach them up, and I'm really excited for what Brian Kelly has done with coaching-wise, bringing in guys that he's running it more like a CEO rather than a X's and O's guy. He knows he's not good at coaching secondary, so he's going to bring in the best secondary guy. He knows he's not good at coaching defensive line. He's going to bring in the best defensive line guy. He knows where the weak points of the team are, and he's going to go out and get the best guy that he can to coach those guys up. So I'm excited. There's a lot of turnover in the SEC, players and coaching-wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wide open.
Including the biggest turnover ever.
Yeah, a lot of people are expecting Ole Miss. This is the year that they take the step. But what has Lane Kiffin done in his coaching career?
Jack.
So
shout out to our friend Enrique. We do respect. I mean,
yes.
I hope I root for Ole Miss because of Enrique.
That is the only reason for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't root. I'm not actively out there rooting for Ole Miss, but
yeah,
I would like to see them be successful because of him. Right?
It could only be running backs for all I care.
Yeah,
they better have the best running backs in the nation. That's about it.
They will with that man.
But I'm mainly excited because of the potential that I see. It might not show this year, but next year moving on, I'm really excited for what LSU football has to offer. And if you take this year as a whole, this upcoming year, you go back and look at, I should have done this a minute ago, but if you go back and look at all of Brian Kelly's stops, year 3 was his trampoline year, his exploding year, where I believe at Cincinnati, that was the year that they made it to their first like New Year's Six Bowl. Then at Notre Dame, he made it to the national championship game in his 3rd year. So this is his 3rd year with LSU. I'm really excited for what might happen and what can happen, because in the top tier, like you said, in the top tier college football, it's not rebuild, it's reload.
Right.
It's just, can those guys produce? And with so many question marks around the SEC, it has me more thinking, why not us?
Yeah. I mean, there are, I mean, once you get past Georgia, there truthfully isn't another, like that second spot in the SEC championship is wide open.
Ole Miss.
Right.
Alabama.
Who knows?
Auburn.
Who knows?
A&M.
Who knows? Who knows? A&M could be a sleeper this year, by the way.
LSU. Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's in the East, but
there's no more East-West.
I'm not going to say Florida.
Texas, Oklahoma.
That it's wide open.
We know Florida's not actually in that conversation.
Louisiana Willie Taggart.
Yeah.
Cajun Willie Taggart.
Cajun Willie. Eh? Somebody brought up earlier, I mentioned that DJU is the best quarterback in the state of Florida this year. Just that talking smack. I think he might be. And then someone was like, what about Lagway? And I'm like, the dude hasn't taken a collegiate snap. How can you? And he's being coached by Billy Napier. You think I think that guy's going to be elite?
I would say Cam Ward, but he's got crystal ball.
I do think Cam Ward is the same story. Yeah, you already said it for me. Cam Ward's the same situation. As far as like throwing mechanics go, DJ is the best. Athletic wise, it's between KJ and UCF
and the thing that I look forward, if we're shifting towards Florida State here,
yeah,
the thing that I look forward to the most is revenge tour, because DJU left Clemson.
right.
And now he's coming back to the ACC going, oh, you guys didn't think I was good enough? Here we go. Because he didn't light the world on fire at Oregon State, but he didn't throw a dud. He was good enough to be to have them in contention at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, looking at Florida State's roster, that's all you need. You don't need that stud guy, that number 1 overall pick guy. You just need a guy who does his job. Not gonna lose games. He has the ability to win games, but he's not gonna lose a game because he throws a bonehead pick, a la Jameis Winston. 30 for 30.
Jameis was 27-1 as a starter in college, though.
That's the insane part.
Yeah. It was wild.
Kelvin Benjamin's up there somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not as high on Florida State as a lot of people are, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I have almost zero worries. The linebacking core is a little. I'm not going to say they're bad. They got Auburn's lead tackler from last year transferred over Cam Riley. DJ Lundy came back after he entered the transfer portal, committed to Colorado, missed the Orange Bowl, and then he decommitted from Colorado and came back to FSU. Okay, we have our top defensive players that also sat out the Orange Bowl last year. It was a big protest game. It was such a weird, like everyone's having phantom surgeries and stuff to get ready for 2025. It could give a whole different take on that. And I mean, tomorrow, No Lit All podcast, going to talk a little bit about it. Paul Feinbaum, the last look back at the snub is basically kind of where I'm going. But looking at Florida State's offense, man, it's just the running backs. I think Florida State will have a top 5 running back room in college football. It's not going to be Quinshon Judkins and the other dude up there at Ohio State. I wish I had his name ready to go. Travion Henderson, is that his name?
Sounds right.
That sounds right. Ohio State. They got him and Quinshon Judkins together. There's not a running back room on paper better than that. But Florida State's is going to be top 5 with Roydell Williams, Keziah Holmes, Lawrence Toafili. I worry not at all about the running game, honestly. But the receivers, you get a guy like DJU. DJ he's a downfield gunslinger, and I feel like our receivers are bad. I'm going on record in saying it before the season. that Florida State's receivers are bad. And Malik Benson is elite. And then after that, it's just nothing but, I don't know, man. Jaylen Brown, redshirt freshman transfer from LSU, is our starting slot receiver. And they say he's like the fastest player in college football. He runs the fastest 40 in the nation.
Wow.
But can you catch?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, speed is speed until you can put it in play. I don't know, man. There's so many question marks for FSU on offense. They are starting 5 freshmen on the offensive line. Or not 5 freshmen, I'm sorry. 5 seniors. That's completely opposite. We're starting 5 seniors on the offensive line. I expect the O-line to be maybe the best that the school's ever had.
Yeah.
But as far as FSU goes, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they went 8-4, 9-3. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 11-1. I don't know. I can look at you for the first time in a long time and tell you that I don't know what kind of season Florida State's going to have. I'm here for it. I'm ready. Play in 3 days. But I don't know, man. They could lose Saturday to Georgia Tech, and I'll be here next week. Like, I mean, I'm heartbroken, but I'm not shocked. What you got?
For some reason, our comments aren't showing up because we've got.
I was wondering, man, because there's a bunch of viewers and we're talking about good stuff here, and nobody's.
They're not. I pulled it up on the Facebook and nothing. Nothing's up there.
What the hell?
I don't know, but
I'll try to see if I can fix that while you read them off.
So it was just a lot of Kyle saying going back.
I would imagine
and
that.
I don't remember.
If there were 100
that swagger
comments.
is just corn dog smell.
That's LSU, yeah.
Yeah, and he's really excited about Lagway. Apparently, put it in all caps with a bunch of exclamation points.
Yeah, I mean, Lagway has all the talent in the world, but he's got an idiot as a head coach, so it's not gonna. I mean, he'll probably transfer out after this year, with the way college football's built now.
That's because you can't read, like you said. Yeah, I can't read.
That's fair. I don't know what that's in response to.
I must have said something. I don't
They
know.
suck them tiger paws. Is that what the LSU Tigers say?
No, it's like that. STTDB, baby.
STDs. That is Baton Rouge.
STTDB. Hey.
What you got over? Anything else worthwhile? I say worthwhile. You're all worthwhile. Thank you for watching.
Florida and Hawaii are playing right now.
And what?
I don't really know right now, but Florida survives.
Baseball, Little League World Series.
Oh,
Didn't think about that. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I didn't think about that. Good job. Way
Thanks,
to be.
thanks, Chef Ross.
Yeah, way to be. Go Florida.
I'm pointing at the camera. I'm pointing at the TV again. So what was the bracket you had up there? Was that last year's?
So that's the new 12-team college football playoff. I can attempt. I'll go down here and I'll pull it up a little bigger for you to be able to see it.
Is that what they're projecting?
This is,
Or is this just what
No,
it would be if it was?
This is our new. Oh, good. Is that any bigger for you?
No, are there teams?
No, there's no teams. This
Okay.
is just explaining how it's going to work, basically, and I kind of cropped it down for us. So the top 4 seeds will go to conference champions.
I thought they changed that. Because they had come out saying it wasn't going to be a part of their criteria, the
It's
conference
not-
champions, because I think Florida State had a big stank about that last year.
I think that,
But I don't. But is that going to
It's
happen?
no longer a tiebreaker. Maybe we need to re-educate. Because I'm not sure. Because I was under the influence that, well, not like Jason Eastman and
under that influence, baby.
not under that influence, but I was under the impression, was the word I was looking for, that the top 4 were still going to. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit put out a whole fucking video about this. Are we wrong? Am I wrong? Somebody correct me. I mean, I wouldn't be able to see your comment anyway, but
Come on, Josh Tucker.
Drew will.
He is watching.
Shout out to you.
Yeah. So go on with what you were saying.
Oh, I don't remember.
Playoff first
Okay, yeah.
round.
So top 4 seeds. We're just gonna do this under the impression that the top 4 seeds are going to conference champions. 1, 2, 3, 4. SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12. Who's representing each one and in what order?
Yeah, Kyle Albritton just said top four seeds are Power Four winners.
Okay, that's what okay.
Okay.
So that hasn't changed. I think that was a criteria.
For a tiebreaker.
Yeah, for a tiebreaker.
I must have misread that. I apologize.
Which is really strange, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I'm in the mindset that number one's going to Georgia. They're winning the SEC. I mean, they have the best team in college football on paper. Maybe, I mean, Ohio State's probably close. Ohio State's probably better on paper, but Georgia's got a better coach. They've won a championship.
Better drivers, better.
They do have a great Uber service in Athens, Georgia. I'm going to go Georgia takes the 1 seed, wins the SEC.
I'm going to go Georgia. I'm going to go Ohio State gets the 1 seed, wins the Big Ten.
Okay, so I have Ohio State taking the 2 seed, winning the Big Ten.
I have Georgia as the 2 seed, taking the SEC.
My number 3 seed, I'm going ACC. I'm going Clemson winning the ACC championship and getting the nod here. I think in the midst of all this, like the drama with Florida State in the offseason, that people have like taken their eyes off of Clemson. If Cade Klubnik plays even above average ball, dude, Clemson is elite. Like, everyone wants to talk about Dabo not adding through the portal, but Dabo has not lost through the portal. Phil Moffa's coming back. I know that. Well, I've given up on talking to my boys about my FSU takes. They can listen to my podcast for them.
Josh Tucker, we're gonna fight Kyle Aaron, right?
Shush, I'm reading
Stop it. Put the Kool-Aid down. Klubnik is mid.
I'm reading it. I love them. I love the boys, but I'm done arguing with them about FSU. I am really high on Clemson this year, and I'm not super high on FSU, is where I'm going. I do think Florida State will finish in the top 3 of the ACC at the worst. I still believe that they're one of the best teams in the ACC, but I mean, Miami, bro, on paper, again, if Cristobal is not a complete idiot, this is the most talented team that Miami's had since the early 2000s. Miami should be good. I know that's not going to be good either. I know that they're.
Oh, you're being canceled from your own little podcast.
Yeah.
Number 3 seed for me. I'm gonna take things out to the Big 12. I think I'm gonna end up going with Utah because I just think they've been on the precipice for the past 3 to 4 years. I think this is the year that they finally put things together.
Cam Rising's there.
He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, but he's gonna play this year.
Yeah. So I think this is a great year for Utah, and in the Big 12, you don't have to fight Texas, Oklahoma. It could be as much. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I took Oklahoma State in one of my dynasties, and we're set up in a champion. As long as me and West Virginia win next week, we're both playing in the Big 12 championship game. And Oklahoma State has a pretty good roster if I'm able to take them to the Big 12 championship. So don't be sleeping on them now.
Nah, I mean, my 4th seed, Big 12 champion, I got Oklahoma State, man. I think Mike Gundy's a good coach. It would be fun to see him in the postseason.
I'm a man.
In a meaningful postseason. I love the idea of Mike Gundy getting a couple playoff games under his belt. I mean, they have Ollie Gordon coming back. They've got a good passing offense as well. I think
they're Alan Bowman, their quarterback's coming back for his 7th year.
I really think that Oklahoma State will represent the Big 12. I mean, now especially Big Brother's gone, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of wide open for them.
Tucker is ripping you.
Nah, that's all they do.
Can't believe I just heard my boy live say he believes in mid Klubnik and no portal Dabo.
I believe in Dabo because he's won 2 national championships. I also said if Klubnik doesn't suck, I didn't say he was a good quarterback.
Slap him for me. And hyping up Miami. Is this real life?
It's okay, dude. I know you guys don't love me or respect me.
Oh, you know the craziest part?
No It All podcast drops tomorrow morning. All my FSU takes go there now.
Senior Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40. According to Kyle Albritton, Gundy's 57.
Jesus.
That was really 17 years ago that he said, I'm a man, I'm 40. Are you kidding me?
Been there that long, huh?
Dude.
That's wild.
He recruited his son, and then his son left in the transfer portal because he has a 7th-year senior quarterback coming back.
Jesus.
My 4 seed,
That's your ACC, right?
Yep, ACC. I'm going to go with Clemson. I mean, they were having such a down year to start, and then somehow just turned it all around towards the end of last year. And Dabo's still a good coach.
A bad year for Clemson has been 9 or 10 wins.
And that's the stupidest part about it all.
I'd kill for that every year.
So,
And now, not in the ACC, I don't think. Obviously, they made that very clear last year with the playoff decision with FSU. But, I mean, beyond FSU, that 9-3 in the SEC or Big Ten, you're probably going to sneak into one of those spots there, that 5 through 11 seed.
yeah. So, number 1 for me was Ohio State. Ugh. Number 2, Georgia.
Ugh.
Number 3, yeah. Number 3,
Grab the car keys, honey.
I had Utah. Number 4, I've got Clemson.
So, I mean, we don't have time to sit here and fill out this whole bracket.
And we're also pretty much throwing darts because, like we said last week, after 1 and 2, it's a crapshoot to begin with.
I can't. This show's going to go completely football here over the next multiple months. I mean, we will have other topics, but it's going to be mostly football for the next couple months, especially the next 2 weeks. We'll probably spend a little less time on the 20 questions so that we're not rushing here at the end of the show to get our football takes in. But try to get some guests on here with us.
Yeah.
Talk a little college football. Well, next week we'll be making picks for college football. So this week, I guess I'll ask you, Florida State, Georgia Tech, who you got? I mean, because for me, it's easy, right? I can't. It's stupid for me to pick an FSU game.
I think it's going to be interesting, it being in Ireland for starters. But I think this is going to be a great welcoming party for DJU. I just think he has too much talent. I don't know if Georgia Tech's going to be able to stop him. I think this is going to be like the statement game. You already said that a lot of guys are coming back that had phantom surgeries and left in the transfer portal and then decided to come back. So there are a lot of guys that obviously still want to be there. And there are a lot of opportunities for those guys to show, hey, last year wasn't a fluke. So I think this is going to be a big coming out party for DJU. And I think this is, like I've already said, this is his revenge tour. So it would be kind of idiotic of me to not pick Florida State after saying all that. So I'm going to stick with Florida State. I think it is a lot closer than what most people think it's going to be. Number one, because it's the first game of the year. And number two, it's in Ireland. If this game is like in Atlanta, not Atlanta because Georgia Tech plays there. If this game is Orlando or Charlotte, I think Florida State wins pretty handily. But since it's in Ireland with all the hoopla, the first game of the year, first game of the year, I think it's going to be a lot closer than what most people think.
Florida State's winning. I'm going to go 27-17. I think that's maybe Florida State kicks a field goal late to take the 2-possession lead. I mean, I'm not picking Georgia Tech, but I am, again, tomorrow morning, No It All podcast. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that I'm fully confident in this team at all. Now, again, I said 9-3 wouldn't shock me. 11-1 wouldn't shock me. I don't think they're going to go undefeated. Not sure they have the talent to do that. I do think next year's team is going to be, well, fucking knows with the transfer portal, all that now.
Yeah.
the way that goes. But
Who's
if everybody stays next year, I mean, Florida State should be one of the best teams in college football next year.
who's the one loss?
That part
Could be
I have 10-2. I have a loss at Notre Dame, and then I have the typical FSU loss, like the at SMU is the one I have circled.
so beating Miami, beating Clemson.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you on the air that we're gonna lose to either one of those, but Miami's gonna be tougher than it has been this year.
Are
I will
y'all-
say that.
Because you guys are home for Clemson
We're home for Clemson
And-
in front of like 40,000 fans,
at
and
Miami?
we're at Miami. Yeah,
in front of like 20,000 fans,
yeah. Well, 20,000
that.
of theirs.
if
Right,
that.
right. A lot of FSU
18.
fans there.
So I
I don't think Florida State covers the 10.5 spread. Basically, is kind of where I'm going with that. I agree
Yeah.
with Josh Tucker. I don't think we covered the 10.5.
win but don't cover. Yeah,
Right.
I can agree with that, and that's kind of what I said. I Kyle put the Gatorade down and picked up a Powerade.
Oh, I can't tell you. I wish I could tell you truthfully what I think about the Florida Gators. Hey, they're going to be bad. They're going to be bad. They have some good players. I think that Graham Mertz is a decent quarterback. I just they have nothing beyond that, man. If Montreal Johnson goes down, their offense is going to be terrible too. They're going to be one-dimensional. Eugene Wilson's coming back if he doesn't get suspended for shoving a coach again because they have no culture in Gainesville.
That the whole everything of Florida went downhill after they decided Marquez Wilson decided to throw a shoe against LSU.
Yeah.
Everything went downhill. Marco Wilson
Yeah.
went downhill after that.
I am so happy they got rid of Dan Mullen because that dude in the NIL era Florida would have at least one or two more championships by now. I think Florida is Georgia if Dan Mullen is still the coach, basically. In the NIL era, I'm saying, like, where you could be lazy as hell and recruit. Kirby Smart doesn't recruit until the last, 3 weeks, and he's like, here's a big check. You want to come to Georgia?
Yeah, I just but the thing that made Saban great was the day after he won a national championship, he was on a flight he was on airplanes and going all over the country.
Still got YouTube
to
comments
recruit.
coming in, by the way. Still YouTube comments coming in. Sorry to cut you off there,
Yeah.
but that's weird. The Facebook comments aren't still coming through. Weird. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying the thing that made Saban great was days after getting out of a national championship game, he was already recruiting for the next year. So I don't know if you can. I think Kirby does a lot of it behind the scenes because he had Saban as a mentor. So I think he's got a lot of guys. He just doesn't show up until late in the year to seal the deal.
Right.
And if you ask me, that's the smart way to do it.
Hell yeah.
If it keeps getting you the best drivers in the country, keep doing it.
All you got to do if you're Kirby Smart is bring them into the office via Uber. I wouldn't have any of your players pick them up. Bring them into your office and show them the championship trophies and rings. That's
Yeah.
all you got to do. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want this?
Because at some point, just like it was at Alabama, the recruiting does itself.
Right.
Because kids grow up and they're like, oh, I want to. I see all of these guys, these players going to the NFL. That's what I want to do. I know where I'm going to go if I want to go to the NFL.
If you come here for 3 years, you're going to be a first round draft pick. You're going to win a natty. You're going to win the SEC. You're going to get a DUI, but you're going to get paid.
Yeah. The team's gonna you'll probably end up still being a first round draft pick, even though you've got a DUI. But hey,
Shout out Jalen Carter, even though you killed somebody. Way to go, Georgia.
Yeah,
There's your culture argument, right? Florida State had the bad culture. Georgia's out here killing each other, driving drunk.
Drew
Shout out to
Gorman, how excited are you that your Tigers' chances of starting 1-0 are much easier now with the home versus FSU behind you?
USC to start the season, by the way,
in Vegas.
in Vegas.
I'm excited. I'm as much as those games pained me, and I still have to deal with stuff like this on a daily basis, especially coming from you. You don't.
I could have been a lot worse.
You could have. You could have.
I took it pretty easy on you.
And I appreciate that. I had some friends that weren't as easy on me.
No, I think that's why we do content together.
And much love, J Tuck. Much love.
I try to be respectful, even to the Miami and Florida fans, because we're going to play every year for the rest of our lives. Like, Florida State's not beating Miami and Florida every single year, right? So it's going to happen.
You win some, you lose some.
Florida State and LSU are going to meet again.
You got to rub it in when you can. So, but I'm excited mainly because I've been hearing nothing but, oh, USC's the best team. USC's this, USC's that. I want to see what USC really has. And I'm excited for, obviously, it's ranked opponents. This is a great jumping point for LSU to start the season really hot, to start the season really good, and go from there. Because we're able to roll out, kind of like we did whenever Joe Burrow, roll out a whole new side of the ball. We rolled out a whole new offense, Joe Burrow's Heisman winning year, and we won the national championship. We're just about going to roll out a brand new defense. Like I've already said, we had a brand new defensive coordinator, brand new defensive line coach, brand new secondary coach. At the end of the day, that's going to look like a brand new defensive team, which has me really excited for the future of LSU.
I agree. I like that. I'm excited for LSU for you. It's easy to root for LSU with you across from me. USC is terrible with that bust in a worse conference. Lincoln Riley is a fraud who was scared of the SEC. Crazy for Lincoln Riley, too, that he ended up in a better conference top to bottom than the SEC. Now, the SEC at the top is the best conference. Top to bottom, though, the Big Ten is better. I don't know. It depends on how Texas and Oklahoma do. Because I think the bottom tier SEC is worse than the bottom tier of the Big Ten.
Bottom tier SEC this year,
like Florida, Vandy, Mississippi State,
South Carolina,
right?
Kentucky.
I'm not sure
Arkansas
that they stand with like the Iowa States, the Minnesotas,
and I don't know if that's as much. You see a lot more parity in the Big Ten. But I don't know if that's much of. I don't know if that's more because the Big Ten has better teams lower, or that the Big Ten has those teams that are prone to slip ups. Also, because it's weird. Ohio State has lost like three times in previous years to Purdue out of nowhere.
I was gonna say
it's just like the random teams, and you get the random losses, but you haven't seen that from a Georgia. I mean, you saw it from Alabama losing to Tennessee, but Tennessee was up and coming at that time.
8 top 20 teams, like this man knows, like that's so manipulated by the ESPN media and just all that. Like that, there's not 8 top 20 teams in the SEC right now on paper, but there's not 8 top 20 teams in the top 20 right now.
Yeah.
I truthfully, I think it's going to be a lot different. Josh Tucker, we're going to end the show on this question. Where do you see oh no, not that one. Scroll up a little bit. What team outside of the top 12 in the preseason poll do you think makes the college football playoff? Now I need to pull up the AP again.
LSU, because they're at number 13.
Well, I guess that works for you. So there's our preseason AP. I wish I could put it. Actually, you know what I could do real quick? I can go here. I can go.
Let's see.
I can go here. I can go to.
I think it's going to be if I take my bias side, obviously LSU at 13, because like I said during whenever I was talking about them, I think we have enough talent on the offensive side of the ball to be able to float whatever the defense looks like. I'm excited for what the defense has in store. And then Brian Kelly year 3.
I wonder what that looked like on screen, by the way.
Put up or shut up night. Put up or shut up year for Brian Kelly. Because if we don't seize control of the SEC, the big guns from boosters and from the president and the AD, you're not going to stay very long if you can't seize control with how wide open the SEC is right now. The SEC is looking right now. So, but if you take bias out of it, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
I mean, I already said Clemson, right? I already said Clemson's winning the ACC. So I guess that would be it. I also said Oklahoma State's winning the Big 12.
I think
Just to make it a little different.
Don't you dare say Kansas.
Oh, I'm not big on Kansas like everybody. I'm not big on Tennessee either. Like everyone's always so big on Tennessee. I'll say Iowa. I'll say Iowa because their defense.
Get them a quarterback.
Their defense every year has them.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense is good enough to beat anybody if they just had a semi-reliable offense. A semi-reliable offense, Iowa. Yeah, I do think I think Iowa. I wonder what their schedule looks like.
And let me pull that up. Iowa's schedule. Let's see.
Football schedule.
As you're talking about it, let's see.
Let's see here. 2024, 2025. Okay, let's go through these. Let's go through these one by one, all right?
Illinois State.
1-0.
Iowa State.
2-0.
Troy.
3-0.
Minnesota.
At Minnesota. That's important to note.
At Minnesota.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 4-1. I think PJ Fleck is capable of that. Okay.
At Ohio State.
I'll go 4-2.
Home for Washington.
5-2. Washington's got a lot of rebuilding to do.
Yes.
They're torn apart. They're not even in the top 25, by the way.
At Michigan State.
6-2.
Home versus Northwestern.
How the fuck did you end up with a classic Big Ten West schedule? Okay, 7-2.
Home for Wisconsin.
8-2.
At UCLA.
Probably 9-2.
At Maryland.
10-2.
Home for Nebraska.
Wait, what did I just do here? That would be 13 games. I went wrong somewhere. 9-2 at Maryland is where I was at, and then I'm gonna go 9-3. I think they lose in Nebraska.
At home?
No, it says it's in Iowa. I think Nebraska's gonna take I'm not gonna say a giant step this year, but I think they're gonna be a little bit better.
Roll Rayola.
Yeah, he announced as the starter.
Crayola.
Crayola.
Yeah.
Crayola is the right answer. Tyler Spalding, 24 LSU secondary is going to blow the pants off of the 23 secondary. USC, on the other hand, has a great new defensive mind to complement Riley's offensive skills. That's going to be a great game. Tyler Wright, which I think is Frank Wright. Okay, that's Frank Wright. Shout out to Frank, the guy from Mosley High, does all their video and audio AV stuff. FSU has something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, they proved everything they needed to prove last year. Truthfully, again, we're on to 2024. No It All podcast tomorrow morning for the last look back. What you got? All right, you ready to get out of here? We went over.
Thank you, guys. Oh.
Yeah, here, let me switch the cameras back. Damn it, Jeffrey. You broke the mic. Oh, yours is broke.
I will be holding it for the rest of the episode.
Holy cow, we're going to have to figure that out. Okay. Holy shit. Oh, it's broken over there. It's cracked. Shit. Okay. All right, we're going to get out of here. Hey, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, doing everything. I'm making you sign off.
No, you sign off.
Bullshit. Look at that.
I don't want to be holding it on camera. Get us out of here.
Somebody screenshot that.
Nope. It follows me. No.
All right, guys. Hey, we're gonna get out of here. Next week, we're making our first little bit of picks for the college football season. We'll probably do the 20 questions again for a couple minutes. We're not going to spend as much time on those next week. Our first round of college football picks, and then
I'm just confused.
And then we're talking about the AFC.
Yes.
Picking division winners in the AFC next week.
Ready, break.
All right, guys. We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you then.
Love
Bye.
you.